Hello, everybody. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for joining. Today, I'm excited to have Lori Ann Davis. Lori is a relationship person extraordinaire. You'll find out at the show, but she's got some really good philosophies on wellness of being. I know it sounds a little new agey, but I'm really excited to have her on the show. I guess hey, Lori.
Hey.
I started to get tongue tied, and with JR, that's a major problem. So
Well, we'll just dive into it, right?
exactly. Hey, listen, tell us a little bit about you and the background of where you came from and why you're here.
Yeah. So I have been working with people in some way, shape, or form for about 35 years. I started off as a marriage and family therapist for 26 years and then became certified as a relationship coach, working with couples and with singles. And I've done all kinds of amazing things. So I feel so blessed. I've had an opportunity to write books, to do a documentary series, to run a singles group in Charlotte. And work with clients and just do all kinds of fun things. But my passion has always been around helping people to live happier, more passion-filled lives in all kinds of different ways. And so we can chat a little bit about some of the newer things I'm doing, but that's kind of my background.
Perfect. Tell me now, you've got some certifications and you've got some, for lack of better terminology, pedigree in what you're doing. You just didn't decide one day, I'm going to be a consultant, poof.
No. I mean, I've got a master's in clinical psychology, was a clinical supervisor for an outpatient office. I had 9 employees under me at one point, and I was the clinical supervisor. I'm certified as a relationship coach. So no, I do have the life experience. I have the experience working with people and the credentials as well. So I've collected all of those over the years.
So, okay. How did it go from A to B? Because a lot of people there's so many ways what you were doing before. There's so many, for lack of better verbiage, mental health, over management, oversight. How did it channel this way? What caused you to, what were some of the rocks in your path that changed the stream?
Well, the stream changed very quickly. I moved from Florida, where I had been licensed all of those 26 years, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And at the time, didn't really care about my license. I had a teenager, a 2-year-old, and was pregnant. And my life was it was beautiful. Everything was exactly the way I wanted it. I had waited a long time to have the other 2 children, finally was getting them, and thought I was homeschooling and wanted to homeschool these new children, and was like, oh, I'm just going to carry on and I'm going to kind of put my career to the back burner, and I'm just going to maybe work with a few clients here and there. So you know what they say about plans, right?
Yeah. Best laid plans of mice, women,
Yes.
and men, right?
Yes. So I had been married, very, very, very happily married for over 25 years. And then I was not. And so that's kind of my quick version of that. I needed to pick up a career, and I needed to support my children all of a sudden. My license didn't transfer. Florida's hard to get licensed in. North Carolina didn't recognize it. I wasn't going to go back and deal with all of that. I used to license people. So I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to work out of my home because I wanted to still homeschool and be home with my children. And I started reading about coaching and thought, I do a lot of that in my therapy anyway. And it was just sort of a natural natural transition from, I think, therapy to coaching. I found the Relationship Coaching Institute, trained under David Steele, got certified, and then just kind of took off running with it, and have been very blessed in all of the things that have come from that, and all of the opportunities I've had.
Well, it's great. And tell me, okay, so right now, where are you? I know you had a book that came out last year, and there's another one on hold with COVID and
Yeah.
all sorts
I
of
actually had
other
two
stuff.
books that came out last year. I had a publisher find me. It's one of those things where answer your emails and answer calls, because I thought when the publisher sent me a note, I thought, oh, somebody else who wants me to pay them to be in their book. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the time, I wasn't in a position where that was something I wanted to do. But I took the call anyway, and I listened. And they started telling me about how they ran things. And then they said, and here's how much we would pay you to write this book. And I went, oh, you want to pay me to write a book? Right. So I did a couple's love journal for them first. And as soon as that was out, and by the way, that one has sold about, at least just through Amazon, has sold about 11,000 copies through Amazon. And so then they contacted me about doing a full length book called Love Habits, which is what you've got up there now. So I did that, and that came out in August. So again, it's one of those opportunities where sometimes you just need to follow, right? And listen and see what they have to say.
Well, you got to follow the money, and sometimes the money just taps you on the shoulder when you're doing what you're supposed to do. There's some people that actually go after it. I used to be one of those people, and then I just decided to work on myself, and I was shocked because the money came after me even more quickly
Yes.
that way.
Oh, it
And
does. It does. I mean, you know that I'm a big proponent of law of attraction. I run a law of attraction meetup group. I do that with my private clients. Um, when we can get into, and that's what I've been talking about a lot lately with people, we are in a transition. We're in a time where there is an opportunity for us to raise our vibration at very quick levels. We as a human species are evolving. And if you don't believe it, that's okay. But I truly do believe that. And I'm watching it happen. I'm watching it happen in my life, in my children's, in my clients' lives. So when we can get in that right space and in that right vibration, right? And science, this isn't new. Quantum physics, science has proved that emotions and things all have energy. So when we're in that right space, I always tell people it's like when you're on the train track down here, but what you want's up here, it can't get to you. So you got to figure out how to get on the train track up here. And when you do, then everything comes so much easier for you, whether it's relationships, whether it's money, whether it's health, no matter what it is, you have the availability of now attracting that. And if you're in a place to receive it, that's even better. Like now we attract it, we're able to receive it, and life just can change just on a dime for you.
I've found that the quotient between success and failure is single digits on the percentage scale, and sometimes it's tenths of a percent of success to failure. Somewhere or another, Richard C. Byrd, the guy that went to the pole, they went twice. The first time they went, and can you imagine being in Antarctica trying to find the South Pole and they came within a mile and gave up within a mile. And it's sort of like with you, I was thinking of an analogy of trains coming transcontinental, but they're on parallel tracks and they just go by.
Mhm.
And in this case, it's a good thing when it hits, because that's when it hits, the money hits, and the success hits, and the fame. And most importantly, those are all, people look for those things, but I look for the happiness. I look for the happiness, and more than happiness, I look for the contentment. Because happiness, of course, is a transitional thing. But I'm starting to steal some of your thunder here. So.
No, great.
um,
But you know what? When we're after it, and what we're after is the money or the fame or those kind of things, that's coming from a lower vibration energy, because usually that's coming from a space of lack. So we want money because we feel the lack of money. And then we go out and we're purposely doing things trying to attract that money. But we're doing all of that not from high vibration. And so then we wonder why it doesn't work. People are always saying, well, I did all of those things that they talk about in law of attraction. It's not working. It's not working because you're not in the right vibration. So we've got to get in the right vibration. When you're in that heart space, now we are. When we're in the space of desire and lack, then we're not in the right space.
So my friend Charles Coachman he's really a cool guy. He's from the West Coast and he's the music man. So he's a realtor there, but he's all kind of other stuff. Anyway, he wants to know if you're going to write a book about the law of attraction.
I don't know. You never know. I remember years ago somebody saying to me, "You need to write a book. You need to write a book." And I was like, "What am I going to write a book about?" So like what? I have like 4 or 5 books now on Amazon, and I'm like, "Yeah." And and I would have thought never. So maybe you never know.
It sounds like you have already a wealth of information and would have little to investigate. You could probably do it out of the abundance of your, you know.
Well, that's probably because, when all of this was not, when nobody talked about all of these things 26 years ago, I was doing them and was learning about it. And I remember going to workshops with Greg Braden and Lee Carroll and some of these people that are in that world. And now, there's thousands of people coming. I remember going to workshops and sitting in a room with 25, 50 people with them and having almost their undivided attention way back when. So that's how far we've come. And that's how long I've been doing a lot of this. And so I'm always learning, constantly reading, constantly learning, but I've been working on it for 26 years. So, hopefully I've gotten something out of that.
Well, you have, and you've helped a lot of people, and I'm sure there's a lot more people out there that you're going to push the ball along in their court because you've disclosure. Lori and I are long-term friends. If you liked her picture, that was my picture. So anyway, we had a great time taking pictures, and we've helped each other on our walks, and there's so many people out there, and there's some people that want to help you, and there's some people that are there at the buffet line with an empty Tupperware container looking to take something home and not show up with any, and Lori's definitely not one of those people. She shows up with several Tupperwares full of tasty stuff. And I can say that I participated in some of her groups and very helpful. And it's not that we don't do things to pay our bills, but there's some people that do it for money motivation. And Lori does it because she's a small lady with a huge heart. And
Thank you.
And that's a big thing. And I just have a heart to help people. There's no incentivization. And if she sells a book, I don't get anything. I just want you folks to be exposed to Lori because she has some really cool things to share. This law of attraction, I want to pursue a little deeper. Okay, so what if I don't know what law of attraction is other than, is it like getting a new haircut or something, which would be kind of interesting for me, but sorry. It's just, that's me.
Yeah, it's a good question. You don't have to know what it is at all, honestly. And you don't even have to believe in it. It's there. It's working. What we really have to do is figure out ways to get in our heart space, to get in a space where we are happy. Really, if you're going about life and you have no idea what law of attraction is, you don't understand any of the things that I have been studying or learning about, but you're just happy. And an idea comes to you and you go, "Oh, I'd like to do that," or "I'd like to have that," or "I'd like this," or "I'd like that." And you just have this belief that, you know what, I'll figure it out. It'll come. If it doesn't come, I'm okay. So I heard somebody say one time that millionaires aren't sitting around thinking about how they're going to make their next million necessarily. They're just going about their life, right? I mean, that does not say they don't have plans for how to make money, but they're not worrying about what they've spent or where their money's like they're in this space by the time they get to a certain level, especially like billionaires, right? Like they're at this level and they're playing the game and they're enjoying it. So that's what you have to know. We have to play the game, play with life. Don't take it so serious. Don't worry about things so much. So for me, it's about really releasing all of the things that are getting in our way. I truly do believe that we are meant to play in the energy. We're meant to be successful. We are meant to draw and attract to us the things that we want. The reason we don't is because we have so many rules, regulations, so many things we put on ourselves to tell ourselves why we can't, or we worry about it. So it's everything that's stopping us. Our natural state is to be able to do this and attract it. So what we have to do is learn to get out of our way.
I think our natural state is happiness, and there's stuff that we allow. Like, I've got a couple people, I won't identify who, but they can't throw things away. I mean, they've got they're retired, and they've got couches from their childhood that their parents were going to discard, and they're down in a room somewhere.
Right.
And
Yes.
there is a ton of tinder called old newspapers on top of those old foam couches. And thank God they have clean habits. Otherwise, the mice would, it would be
Right.
like going to the Riviera or something.
Yes. So that
But
brings up another really good concept, though, and that is that we have to make space for new things to come. And so I have a really good story about that happened to me with right before last fall. So I had been working a part-time nonprofit, and I had been there for about 4 years, was running a single parent program, doing counseling for them, really loved it. And then it was time for me to leave. And I knew it was, we won't get into why, but I knew that it was time to go. And but I was a little hesitant, right? It was like, what am I, I'm used to that income. I kind of like that. I can get guaranteed income that's there. And, there's the single parents and, what's going to happen if I go. Finally made the decision to leave. And within a week of making that decision, it was amazing all the things that happened. It was the book. They called and offered me another book deal. A matchmaking company recruited me, and I'm working for them part-time, and it's fun, and I really enjoy it. I can make my own schedule. Something came through for my husband that we had been waiting on for years that provided something monetary for us. I mean, it was just like all these things came in, and I have now, my salary has gone up 4 times, maybe more what it was before. And all I did was make the decision to leave and trust that it was all going to be okay. And I'm telling you, all within 5-6 days did all of these things just come pouring into my life because I made space for them.
well, that's an interesting concept, because it's like, okay, I've got one phone and I bought another phone from a different platform.
Mhm.
And in order to get this, I had to get rid of this, because I can't have Android and iOS at the same time. So which one do I want? And I want Clubhouse, so I want iOS, because it's only, anyway.
Mhm.
People are so insecure with what they have that they want to stay within that parameter. And in
Yes.
order, like I said before, you got to drop something. In order to grab something, you've got to have an open hand. You can't hold something when you're already holding on to something else.
Yes.
That's something that I've had to learn incrementally, partly listening to Law of Attraction with you and some other people, and just experientially. You've watched my journey to a slight degree, and it's interesting because sometimes there's stuff that comes in that you think that you should take, and really it should have just gone by.
Yeah, or it was there to teach you a lesson, right? It was like, I want something, and the universe says, okay, you want that, but you're not ready for that yet. So we're going to give you this, and that's going to help you to get ready. And then we go, oh, but that's not what I wanted. No, no, we push things away. We push things away when really it was a step in the right direction to get what we really wanted. But we don't see that, then we don't learn what we need to learn. So then we're not ready for, maybe there's another 2 or 3 steps we need before we can get what we want, right? But
Well,
it's a journey. And can we enjoy the journey and learn the lessons we need to learn and embrace all of that as opposed to judging it so much?
people, I don't know what it is. It's societal. It's inbred in us. you you don't, you shouldn't make mistakes. Oh, gee, I wish I did all my mistakes when I was young and stuff like that. And the way I learn is by trying things and failing, but not truly failing, because truly failing is giving up and not learning the lesson. That's failing.
Right.
Then you go back and you try it again, and you try it again, and you try it again. The first year of my photography career, I wish I kept better records, because I'd send back refunds to everybody because I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to be, and people were happy, although, I was charging accordingly, but so I wouldn't have to refund that much. PS. But as a result of that, I built up to my master craftsman level and done things all over the world with blah, blah, blah. And been on stages with people. But I had to learn how to suck before I could learn how to be great. And then I had to learn what it felt like to suck and hate it and move on. And, that's probably not good Queen's English or whatever, but I'm just a regular blue collar boy that's trying to make a buck here somehow or another. And that works for me. It's just like with what you're talking about, is the trial and error thing and allowing yourself space to. I have learned, it's like the title of my series here is Enjoy the Journey. And that's my credo right now, because before, I was brought up in a very goal-oriented. I went to a very fine couple of schools, advanced education, and you got to do your 1, 3, 5, 10, 20, and million-year plans and all this stuff. And yeah, I do have goals, but I'm very flexible on them. And in the meantime, I want to enjoy while it's here, because as we all learned last year, you need to enjoy the journey while you have a chance, because sometimes things, you don't know what you got till it's gone, like the old song said. And so what I've got is, Lori and I were actually talking about this before, and you can't control what's without, but you have 100% of what you can control within. And that's a lesson that I thought I knew, and I really learned last year. And I really took control over that. Got rid of some bad influences as far as downers for people and stuff. And, that's where the law of attraction comes in, because you can't be attractive if you've got trash.
No, and the other thing that will happen with people sometimes, and of course, everybody's doing the best they can. So, just sort of want to make sure that we cover that. Like, everybody is where they need to be. They're learning the lessons they need to learn, and they're doing the best they can. But we have beliefs that we've taken on. So my psychology background is going to come out here, but we have beliefs that we've taken on that we don't even know. A lot of them are at an unconscious level, but yet they're steering the ship. So we've got beliefs, we've got experiences, we've got all of these things that can get in our way sometimes. So we say, okay, I want to live more from my heart. I want to be happier. I want to learn the lessons. I want to attract this. I want to go on this journey, but I don't have any idea how to do it. And I don't understand why I'm not making progress. And so sometimes we need some help. I do this for a living, and I have friends that do this for a living. And guess what? When I feel like I'm at a place where I'm ready to go to a next level, or I'm peeling back layers of an onion and I might want some help, right, with my own stuff, I call them. I don't necessarily do it all on my own. So sometimes we do need some help. We need somebody who can help us quickly and easily. That's the difference, I think, between what I do and traditional therapy, is quickly and easily figure out, where are our blocks? Like, what are those things that are stopping us? Those beliefs, those people can have trapped emotions. So now we're taking whatever is happening currently, but we're adding that to all the backup of stuff that we've got. So something happens and our reaction, instead of being little, is huge, because we've got beliefs and we've got emotions that are there that we didn't process from earlier on. And all of this, it's a lot, right? And it's holding us down. And sometimes we need help breaking through that so that then we can move on. Clients will tell me a lot of times when we work together after we do a session, that they feel so much lighter and they feel like they weigh so much less. And it's because we've gotten rid of so much of that old stuff that's getting in their way. So sometimes we need a little bit of help with that, and that's okay.
So what kind of help if they're not blessed enough to have the great Lori Ann Davis counseling them on a regular basis? But with all of your insights and all of your experiences with, I don't know if you'd call them clients, cases, experience. What are a couple things people could do that are watching this? What are some, I don't know if I hate to say the word easy, but what are some basic steps you could do? There's a good word, basic.
Basic.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that we have to do is we have to be quiet and we have to be still. I was talking about this. I have a private Facebook community and I do videos a couple of times a week, usually in there talking about, just kind of whatever's going on with the energy of the world, or, how do we navigate what's going on now? And one of the things I was talking about the other day is that I've been waking up at 5 a.m. a lot lately to do my own sort of clearing and cleansing, and that's the time. And I wake up at that time because I'm busy a lot. And even though I spend time kind of in meditation in the morning and I'll spend some time quiet in the evenings, a lot of times, still, I don't think I'm quiet long enough. And so at night is when your unconscious is working. So I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and go, oh, okay, time to process, right? But we have to be still long enough. And I think that this year has provided a lot of people with an opportunity to do that. Can we not fill every space? So for instance, if something happens in your life and you find yourself being angry or annoyed or sad or some emotion that we label negative or a bad emotion that we don't want to feel, instead of instantly doing something to distract yourself or to get over it, be still for a little bit. Give yourself a little time and start asking questions. We all have this innate sense inside of us, this higher power in us, right? Not from a religious perspective, but we have this intuition. There's lots of different things you can call it. We have something inside of us that will give us some of the answers if we listen. So being still, being quiet, setting the intention. Like, why am I feeling so, like something happened and somebody did something and I feel annoyed about that. Well, I get that. So we have two choices now. We can go, look what they did. We can start telling everybody else what they did. We can start spiraling down and feeling worse and worse and putting all the blame on them, right? And carry on a small incident for days, maybe. People carry it on for years sometimes. So that's one way. The other way we can do it is we can go, we can be, Eckhart Tolle talks about being the observer of your thoughts. We can go, okay, let me sit for a minute. I felt annoyed about that. What was it about that caused me to feel annoyed? So bring it back to you. Take the other person out of it. You're not going to change them. Either be around them or don't, or, if it's in a relationship, you can negotiate things. But sit with yourself a little bit and say, right, what is it about that makes me sad, that annoyed me, that makes me angry? And then listen. Maybe even do some journaling, don't worry about what you're going to write. Just ask the question and just start writing whatever comes to you. That's your inner guidance, giving you some guidance, talking to you, telling you things. So those are some of the things you can do, at least to start investigating for yourself what's going on, and then releasing it, like not holding on to things, always choosing. Abraham Hicks talks about choosing the next best thought, the next best feeling. So if you are totally and completely pissed, right? Don't try to get from there to, oh, I love everybody, rainbows and unicorns, right? Like you're not going to do it. So I'm totally pissed. Well, let me see. Well, maybe I'm like not quite so angry. Maybe I can see the other person's point of view just a little. So reaching for that one step above. And that one step above. And that's going to help you to start to come out of some of that. Any of that make sense?
It does. I think just a couple quick reactions on things. A long time ago, I learned the things that most annoy me about other people are the negative traits that I have in myself.
In some way, shape, or form, right? It's not always the exact way it shows up for them, But yes, you're right. When something really triggers us, it's either triggering something that happened in the past, and that's why there's such a reaction, or it's triggering us because, yes, there's something about that that we don't like about ourselves. It's easy to see it in other people, right? Somebody will be complaining about somebody else, and you can look at them and go, well, but I see some of that in you, but they don't, right? So being willing to really take a deeper look at ourselves. Yes.
Well, I'm hanging out with a real good bunch of people lately, and some of my good friends are on. It's cheerleaders and whatever. We support each other, but they're really great guys. And one of them is his name is Charles, and we talked about Charles. What does Lori think about biofeedback?
I think it's phenomenal. I think that there are lots and lots of techniques. I mean, I do something called emotion code, and I do Psych K, and then I use my own, I call it intuitive energy healing that I do with people. I tap into my own intuition to kind of guide that. But there are lots of different things we can do. There's tapping. I also do EFT, the tapping. All of those things, anything you can do to center yourself, to get quiet, to get calm, to tap into a higher vibration, to tap into that heart energy, to release some things. Biofeedback is a wonderful way to help you understand where you are, right? So
Right.
there's so many techniques, and I don't think that there's a right or wrong one. You pick the one that resonates with you. Some of those things I just talked about, you can learn to do yourself. Some of them you can't. You need somebody to guide you through, but start somewhere. And if you start somewhere and you're open, you'll be led to the next thing. I mean, I didn't start 26 years ago with where I am now. I started with going to an event put on by some Native Americans. And the energy, I tapped into that energy that they had there. And I couldn't get enough of it. I wanted to just be around them all the time. And that led to a couple of books somebody read. 26 years later, the journey's gone all over the place. And, I know so much more than I knew then. So start somewhere, and the rest will kind of come to you step by step. Find some people to follow, to listen to. I'd love to have people in my group if they think that might be helpful. It's a private Facebook group, but it's free. But find people, find somebody.
Let me put something up here. I had something else. And this is the way to get a hold of Lori. Lori is very get a holdable, if that's a word. By the way, warning, she's got a really nice husband who is this monster who's a biker. So when you're gonna get a hold of Lori, make it respectable. I'm just warning you,
My biker husband, though, in his defense, is 31 years retired law enforcement, so he's a good guy.
Yeah, but it's like me. I'm a paratrooper. Once a G-man, always a G-man, Anyway, that's Lori's address to get a hold of her. Lori, it's been great. I mean, is there anything the audience has been great. One of my childhood friends showed up. Mike Reinhausen is a great musician from my past. Lori's first husband is also a great friend of mine. Mike Davis he's a good guy, and it's just cool to see that splits can be amicable, because it's not that way with all of us, and so it's
sometimes
nice.
We have journeys that we need to go on, and we can't do those journeys at a certain point by ourselves. And even though it can be painful to go through a split, we can still, we've gotten that friendship back that we always had. I mean, we were together for 28 years, 25 amazing years. We went through some difficulties, but if you can see, so that's another thing, right? If you can see the person beyond the difficulties that they're going through and see them at a soul level, see who they really truly are, that can make a big difference. Some people can't stay in your life at that level, but you can still see them that way. Some people, you can see them that way and they can still stay in your life, but in a different way. And that's what we've been able to do. So
that's great. That's great. Well, it's been wonderful. And I really want to thank you for your time. And okay, everybody, you need to put Lori's name in your permanent addresses, because she's got some books in her little head up there that are going to come out, and they're going to be great books. the all the material that I've ever read of hers has been helpful. And I'm not saying that to be ingratiating or whatever. There's some people that just, how can you say it politely? They like to have an audience, but they don't bring Lori is someone that brings a lot of value because first of all, she cares. And second of all, she's taken the time to learn the stuff that makes her effective. And that's what I think really, that's why I wanted you on my show, because there are people that are saying, hey, thanks. This is really cool right now. You'll see in the comments after. And, Lori, I'll see you in just a little bit. I'll be right back. Well, I'm so glad all of you came. Wasn't that a fun road? Like I said, Lori Ann Davis, go see her website and hang out with her in her group, because she really has done a lot for me over the years and a lot of my friends. I hope you enjoy this. I hope that this type of thing you're enjoying, because I'm doing this not to spread my own fame and fortune, but to help people and to be a blessing to people around me and to be a positive. It would be really great if you liked my show, and it would be such a blessing if you subscribed. I've got some really cool people coming up. I've got somebody in a couple weeks who's doing, I don't know if you've ever been interested in Bitcoin and all that virtual money thing, but this guy was telling me some amazing stories about how he's passively making $300 a day. And I want to hear that story. There's other people. We've got someone next week from Norway who is coming to talk and share his story about he creates marine nutrition. He creates surface food on the water, and he's a world authority on it, and he's one of my good friends. Anyway, I hope you folks enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the journey.